Boy, you know what time it is.
Welcome to the Bromigos podcast.
I need it!
Hey, how are you?
This is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Bromigos podcast. We got a good one for you today. You already know, though. It's your boy, Sir Daint, and I'm here with my other bros.
Your favorite cultural appropriator. Undercover Brotha, pump your fists if you feel me and holler if you hear me in the motherfucking house. What's good, baby?
Oh, it's the Hoochie man holding it down as always. And shout out Mike. He can't be here with us.
Yes, sir. We looking forward to hearing from him soon. Gentlemen, let's hop right into it. Matt, before the show, you had some interesting news for us. You said after episode 97, we had some fan mail.
Yes.
And apparently, it wasn't so positive. So dive into it, man. Read us what this supposed fan said to us, and let's dive into that right now.
I'm so pissed Mike isn't here for this because I know the whole backstory behind this, and I can't tell too much without giving a lot away. So all I can say is when it comes to this show, I think we all can agree that we all thrive off the negativity of opinions that people have that are thrown towards us when an episode releases. This is just one of those days where I just get a sick sense of pride from something. This was this particular one from episode 97 was when we were talking about the Trump stuff. And one John Jamingo sent us a message.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. He said, this podcast should come with a warning. Listening to the Bromigos will lower your IQ. Harris was the border czar and in charge of hooking up high-speed internet to rural areas. She let 20 million illegal immigrants in the country and didn't hook up one house. You moron. And that's it.
Okay.
So it's funny because him and Mike, we had like a little chat. I won't say too much, but I've been watching them go off at each other for like the last few weeks, on and off, and it's some of the most entertaining conversation you can ever see. And I'm not taking any side in particular here because I don't really give a fuck. I read them all for my own entertainment, but it's watching those two argue over certain things is great. I can do it all day. When I have John Jamingo back on the show, I don't fucking know. If he wants to come on, we'll see. But
he won't.
No, he won't.
They never do.
No. I think my IQ would lower listening to him because most of his stuff is regurgitated Fox News. Love you, John. I love you to death, buddy. But if I wanted to listen to all the stuff you had to say, I would just go watch Fox News 24/7. So, which I don't want to do.
You know, one thing about me is I respect everybody's opinions. I do. Even the opinions that sound absolutely. I do. You have to. I don't think you could be a prominent public speaker if you can't accept the fact that people are going to have differing opinions from yours. So that's just how I've always been. What I will say about his points or whatever, I've said many, many times, I don't get too crazy about politics. And the reason why is because specifically American politics, it has the ability to get you outside of yourself and you become beside yourself very, very often. And especially with this current administration and the past administration and the administration before that, all people do is just bicker. Oh, we're mad at this president. Oh, we're mad at the vice president. Oh, it's the Biden-Harris administration. It shouldn't be the Biden-Harris administration. It should be the Biden. Like, I don't have time for all of it. I really don't. What I think is, especially with Mr. Jamingo, I'll be respectful, Mr. Jamingo, he has opinions of a person who comes from a world that is much different than what we're living in. And I'm not saying his opinions are wrong. He's entitled to those opinions. But when it comes to politics, I completely cut myself out. I do. There's no sense in me arguing with somebody about opinions about politics when 9 times out of 10, we don't align the same way because we live different lives. We come from different backgrounds. Of course, I'm going to have a certain opinion on Donald Trump because I'm black and I live in America and my experience is a lot different from an older white man who lives in a completely different America. And in anybody who lives in the United States, if you think black people and white people live in the same America, well, you're just as ignorant as anybody else who comes from other countries who thinks, oh, America's this amazing country. They're free. They do A, B, and C. And then you come here and they're like, ooh, this isn't what I heard of. This isn't what I saw in the movies. This isn't what I heard in the music. You know, I'm not getting crazy over what he said. You know, that's how he feels. Cool. But I will say this. First of all, motherfucker, I'm college educated. Okay. I'm college educated. So to say that if you listen to our show, you have people will get a lower IQ, I find that very disrespectful because I would never say that about your show. I might not like some of the opinions you have, but don't say people that listen to the show will have a lower IQ. That's mad disrespectful. I don't rock with any of that. Okay. We all here have extensive educational backgrounds. Okay. We take the time to research, we take the time to learn, we take the time to understand other people's opinions and other people's views on things. So don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. Because I'm telling you, man, you wouldn't want to have a one-on-one conversation with me. Because I ain't gonna yell, I ain't gonna scream. I'm just gonna sit there and listen to you. You can go about your business, but I'm just gonna give it to you straight, give my opinion and move on. I ain't got no time for that. So that's all I gotta say about that. That's it. That's it.
I ain't got nothing to say either because honestly, I laugh. I just laugh at it at this point. I don't care. I don't fucking care because
why do I care? Why do I care about the opinion of some old white dude?
Not even that. Like it's just like
I'm just keeping it a bean. Why do I care about the opinion of some white dude? And in the same instance, why does he care about the opinion of some young black kid who's trying to live his life, trying to figure things out, or the opinion of Mike? Why do you care? Why do you care?
Considering I run all of the socials, I see people talk shit to us all the time in the comment sections, and I don't even respond to it because it's not worth my time. I have so many other things I'm focused on during the day that I just like reading them. I laugh. Maybe some of them are like, you fucking moron. But after that, just like, let it pass, let it wash over you, you know?
Yep.
I ain't got time to fight with people. There's too much negativity in the world as there is. And, you know, I know he's talked about the show or our show on his, and I haven't listened to it, so I don't really. I mean, shout out Kate though. I love Kate from Boomer Bunker. She's like a mother to me, and she put up with more shit than I care to admit. But so all love to Kate, but John, I think he's just making a problem for the sake of making a problem. None of us really give a fuck enough in our day-to-day lives to care.
I don't care what he has to say. Just like I don't care what he has to say. There are a lot of people that are out here saying some things and having comments about one of the best quarterbacks to ever come out of college football in recent history. And yes, I'm saying that. I'm standing on it. I'm stamping it. Shedeur Sanders. As we all know, Shedeur Sanders was a 5th-round draft pick this year, the 2025 NFL draft. People thought that he was going to go 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th. You know, they thought maybe he'd get picked up in the 2nd round by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Didn't happen. You know, they had great opinions on him, and they thought he was going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL, but he ended up sliding down to the 5th round, and we all know what that was about. You know, it was definitely collusion within the league to not draft this young man who, in my opinion, there has not been a single NFL player, let alone NFL quarterback, that has come into the league his rookie year who I think is more poised and ready to handle the professionalism of the NFL. Now, over the past couple of months, there has been talks about how Sheduer has been handling practice. Some people say he's been working out too much because right now he has a sore shoulder, so he's struggling to throw as much as he did. But the overall consensus is, if you look on social media, it's he has not gotten a lot of first team reps, and the myth that he has not had any first team reps is not true because it has been documented. He has thrown with the first team before, but he is right now 4th on the depth chart in terms of quarterbacks. For the Cleveland Browns, and he is actually going to be starting in the very first preseason game for the Cleveland Browns this year. So what I wanted to do was dive into the opinions that are being placed upon Shedeur Sanders in his play and his character, and how that is going to be portrayed throughout the 2025 NFL season. Hunter, let's start with you. You know, you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I really thought that Shedeur was going to go there and be able to make some waves as a rookie, but clearly he's in Cleveland. So what's your take on this particular situation, my man?
It might be a maturity issue because it's different doing one thing in college and then go to the NFL trying to do the same thing. Maybe that's the issue with Sheduer. I know he's got a shoulder injury, but I really don't look at it too much as him working out too much and him being fourth on the depth chart because quite literally the depth chart, it just goes by experience. So Flacco is a starter for the Browns at the moment. Kenny Pickett, he's been in the NFL for a couple of years. He got a Super Bowl last year as a backup for the Eagles. He's the second string. Dylan Gabriel, third string, and then Sheduer, fourth string. And I think that's just because Gabriel was a higher pick than Sheduer, but I wouldn't look at it too much. We're going to get a good look at him tonight, though, and see if Sheduer is capable of playing in the NFL and can possibly project himself higher on the starting quarterback position. 7 o'clock tonight against the Panthers. So that'll be a good test for him. We'll have to wait and see until then, but I think all this outside noise, it's just gibberish, if you will. There's some good points, but then again, there's some that are just like over the top, just trying to get a bad reaction out of it. But we'll see what he does tonight.
Matt?
So during draft night, it was me and my coworker that were on shift and we were watching the draft, right? And every time that we thought Sheduer was going to go, specifically during that the Pittsburgh pick, we were shocked that it wasn't him. Like as we're getting like towards past the 10th pick, the 11th and 12th and so on and so forth, they're like, wow, we thought this was going to be a lot different. You know, we thought this was going to play out a lot different than how it did. I've talked with a couple people at the gym and they have their own opinions of it. They think Dion is really the reason. They think the fact that Dion is so heavily involved in his career is a detriment to him. And I know, Dante, you will have a lot of opinions to that comment. But honestly, like, at the end of the day, I don't expect him to play all that much in the regular season. Like, he's right now, like, where he's a fourth string quarterback. So we'll see how he performs tonight and how his level will, maybe it'll rise up, maybe it'll fall. I mean, Joe Flacco is old, and there are other people that are ahead of him, so they'll get the call first. But I don't expect Sheduer to play a whole lot of snaps this year. I think the idea that he is expected to play at such a high level so early on is, I think, why college quarterbacks have failed so much in the recent years of the NFL. Because they are thrown into the fire with little to no help and are expected to make something out of nothing when the team around them is not nearly as good as they should be, or they haven't had the proper guidance from veterans on the team, or they even have any veterans at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my opinion of it all. I could be wrong, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, Dante. I really do. You're more educated on this than all of us here, so because you follow it a lot.
I wouldn't say I'm more educated. I just think I pay a lot more attention to the little intricacies that
that's what I mean.
Talking about Shedeur Sanders, because me personally, I have followed Sheduer ever since he was in high school. I think, like I've mentioned this before on the show, you know, when overtime started to really become a prominent figure in youth sports media, Sheduer was one of, if not the first athlete to have his own Snapchat story / show via overtime on Snap. And I would watch him all the time. That's really where I started to become more of a fan of Deion Sanders, the coach, because I knew who he was as a player. I knew about prime time, Deion, you know, the defensive player of the year, 94, you know, back-to-back NFL Super Bowl champion, all that kind of stuff. But when I have seen the opinions of Shedeur Sanders and what people say about him, it brings me great pause, because in my personal experience watching the NFL over the past 15 years, I have never seen a player who I believe is more poised to be a professional athlete than Shedeur Sanders. What Shedeur Sanders does in his pressers, I think, is extremely important, because the way he conducts himself on camera, the way he conducts himself in front of the mic is a lot different than many other players. He's extremely mature. And I think when there's questions about his maturity, I'll never understand it. The way he answers questions is extremely professional. He did that in high school. He did that in college. And the reason why is because he has a father who has been through all the highs and lows of being a professional athlete and being an icon in the game of football, which has prepared him for certain questions and certain situations when it comes to dealing with the media. When it comes to his play, you cannot say Shedeur Sanders is a subpar NFL quarterback. This man won the Johnny Unitas Award last year, which not only is given to the best upperclassman college quarterback in college football, but it's also given to a player who has upstanding characteristics, who handles himself well off the field, and who conducts himself well as a person just overall. There's a lot that goes into getting that award. And he had a coaching staff at Colorado that allowed him to benefit from their experiences, in which he can use that in turn when he gets to the NFL in order to have an exceptional career. Now, you guys know I have compared Shedeur Sanders to Tom Brady since he was at Jackson State. We have talked about Sheduer when he was at Jackson State. You know, this show's been on for a while. So we've talked about him even way back then. And Shedeur's just poised. He handles the moment well. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do, and he doesn't allow the hate and the negativity to affect him on the field. And while I do think some of that does affect him, we don't see it. You never see Sheduer go out there and talk crap about his teammates. You never see him downplay the coaching staff. He takes a lot of the responsibility and at the end of the day, that's what you have to do when you're an NFL quarterback. When you're looked at as a star, you know, the quarterback in the NFL is the prime position. It's the most important position, one of the most important positions in sports. So you have to conduct yourself in a way that shows, hey, when the heat is hot, you know, when the kitchen is hot, you know how to handle the cooking. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I've always think Sheduer has handled himself exceptionally well. The way he answers questions in the media has been great. I just don't understand why there's so much hate. And I also don't understand why people hate on his father so much. Why would you hate on somebody who completely changed the game? Mac, go ahead.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the next thing I wanted to ask you specifically was the whole, Shedeur Sanders is a Nepo baby. He's getting what he deserves, blah, blah, blah. I think that's the perfect segue to go into that portion of it.
Right. Okay. So let's dive into Shedeur Sanders' play, right? You want to talk about, you know, everything that he did at Colorado and what he did at Jackson State, right? In his 2 years at Jackson State, Shedeur Sanders had a 71.8 completion percentage. 71.8. That means if he threw the ball 10 times in a game, he's completing it 7 out of those 10 times, right? He had an interception rate of 1.4 during his 2 years at Colorado. The man threw for thousands and thousands of yards, threw for over 100 touchdowns in 4 years of college football. And he has been one of the most efficient college quarterbacks of all time. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Shedeur Sanders doesn't have the talent. What I think a lot of people forget about Shedeur Sanders is that he decided to follow his father. He decided to be under his father's wing, take as much information and experience as he could to be as prepared as he could for the league. If you look at the top talent that we've had over the past couple of years in college football, especially at the quarterback position, I mean, guys that were at big schools, the Florida States, the Texas, Alabama, schools like LSU, right? In terms of their poise, in terms of the professionalism, a lot of those guys weren't ready. They had to learn as they went. Lamar Jackson, they wanted to make that man a wide receiver when he got to the league. They said he could not be an NFL quarterback. Why? Because of his athleticism, right? A lot of black quarterbacks it happens to. This isn't the first time. You could go way back. You can go way back in terms of how black quarterbacks have been treated once they get to the NFL. A lot of people to this day still don't think black quarterbacks are smart enough to play in the league. But look at the MVPs that we've had over the past 10 years. Y'all remember 10 years ago? Who won MVP? Cam Newton. Who's been a 3-time MVP and a 3-time Super Bowl MVP and a 3-time Super Bowl champion? Even though he's half. Patrick Mahomes. If
he's half, but it counts.
If you really want to get a better understanding of how Shedeur Sanders is being treated as an NFL quarterback, strictly as an NFL quarterback, and you have to look at it from a black perspective because black quarterbacks have always been looked at as subpar when it comes to the quarterback position in the league. The one player that I think a lot of them have to give kudos to is Warren Moon. See, Warren Moon was one of the best college quarterbacks in college football when he was playing at Washington. But when he wanted to get to the league, he went undrafted. Nobody wanted him because at that time in the late 70s, early 80s, nobody thought that a black quarterback was smart enough to play in the league. There weren't a lot of black starters. There weren't a lot of black players that even got the chance to be NFL quarterbacks. And I hate that I forgot his name, but there was a quarterback who played for the Denver Broncos in the late 60s, early 70s. I have to, and I apologize for not having his information to heart, but he played great for the Denver Broncos as their quarterback. Eventually got moved to I believe a wideout and ended up being a 2-time back-to-back and a Super Bowl champion with the Miami Dolphins in the early 70s. I think that was 72, 73, I believe, the 2 years that they won in the 70s. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Warren Moon, to me, is the pinnacle of proving that black quarterbacks can play in the NFL. Remember, this man went to the Canadian Football League. He had to play there. He didn't have a choice. That's the only way he was going to be able to play his position. And then once he was winning all those Grey Cups and MVPs, the NFL took notice. Said, hey, maybe this guy could play in the best league of professional football. So then you get an old Warren Moon on the Houston Oilers, wins an MVP, one of the best NFL quarterbacks of all time, top 10, no doubt, Hall of Famer. And then you go down the list, the guys that came after, the Mike Vicks, the Cam Newtons, the Patrick Mahomes, the James Winstons, the Deshaun Watsons, guys that have a lot of talent and can play the position. But for some reason, it's always been looked at as these guys aren't smart enough. But if you watch Shedeur Sanders and stop paying attention to Instagram comment sections, you would know that this kid is ready, he's prepared, and he was born for this moment. There has never, ever been an NFL quarterback that has come into the league his rookie year that has been given the kind of experience, the kind of information that Shedeur Sanders has endured and taken in to be ready for this moment. This man has God on his side. He has supporters. And I know at the end of the day, through all the hate, Shedeur Sanders will prevail. That's all I got to say.
To end off on that, I just hope that Shedeur Sanders, whether it's may not happen in the first year of his career, but it'll definitely happen as time goes on. I want him to break the myth of like the whole subpar black NFL quarterbacks. Just because look at the and I say that because like look at all the memes that certain black quarterbacks have gotten. I mean, who can forget famous Jameis's turnover bakery, from Jameis Winston's that 1 year he had awful
30 interceptions. 30.
Yep, exactly.
The crab legs
Geno Smith.
too, by the way.
Geno Smith was
notoriously 30 intro too. What if I told you that a black quarterback threw for 30 interceptions, 30 touchdowns in the same season? This is the story of crab leg stealing Jameis Winston. Like, but not that.
Like we can also bring up the whole Geno Smith is ass conversation prior to him being on the Seahawks.
What he's done in the Seahawks. Look what he's done in the Seahawks.
Yeah. I think he's not on the Seahawks anymore, but what he did
he's on the Raiders.
Yeah, he's on the Raiders, so we'll see what happens there.
Every quarterback ain't going to win a Super Bowl. And I think that's what people don't realize. Obviously a lot of the great quarterbacks have won, but a lot of great quarterbacks haven't. Phillip Rivers, Dan Marino, who in my opinion is the greatest quarterback that ever played the game that didn't win a Super Bowl. If Dan Marino were to win a couple Super Bowls, we're putting him over Tom Brady. There's no doubt, but he didn't have the offense that all these other guys had. And you could be very honest about that. Cam Newton probably could have won a couple Super Bowls in Carolina, but then he ended up getting hurt. There was a lot of hate on him, not diving on the football in the 2015 Super Bowl. There was just a lot of crap that was going on, but there has to be an ability to give these guys a chance. Stop relying on Instagram comments and social media opinions to give your opinion on a quarterback who is deserving of this opportunity and deserving to win and deserving to be successful. And as we've seen over the past couple of years, they have been trying to screw my man Shedeur Sanders right at the ass, just like Dildos do. And as we segue into this part, man, the WNBA. The WNBA has a phallic problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on, man.
What the fuck is going on over there?
I don't know how this is. I want to know how they're getting the dildos in. Like, are they putting them up there?
Well, allegedly they're not checking bags properly.
It's weird. I ain't gonna lie. When I went to a game, I actually went to the Sparks Liberty game 2 weeks ago. Rakia Jackson hit a game-winning buzzer beater, just threw the crap overhead and went in. It was a crazy game. But before we get into the whole dildo thing, I will say this: WNBA basketball is the best it's ever been, man.
It's at a level as far as like media great, and players that I've not seen in a while.
And I'll say that watching the game over the past season, seeing the highlights, watching some games as I have in person and on TV, man, women's basketball is so beautiful. And I think what's killing the game is men who actually don't watch it, only watch the game for highlights on social media and love to watch, Angel Reese miss layups every now and then, and love to continue to talk about Caitlin Clark, even though she barely played the season because she's had a groin injury. Most guys don't know that because all they do is love talking about Caitlin Clark and really haven't legitimately seen her play. And if you're a fan of the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark, that's fine. There's no reason. There's nothing bad about that. But the game right now is amazing. When I went to go see the Liberty play 2 weeks ago, I saw some of the most beautiful basketball I've seen in my entire life. I mean, the ability to pass, the ability to get the ball off the floor, playing good fundamental basketball is not a bad thing. And so many guys that watch the NBA are so used to dunking and these high-level plays and this elite level of entertainment. I have said this since day one of this podcast. NBA basketball is not good basketball. And if you watch NBA basketball to watch good basketball, you're not a legitimate fan. You're not a legitimate follower of the game of basketball in its purest sense. The league has stars. Nafisa Collier, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Plum, Cameron Brink, Aja Wilson. I will go down the line. Yes, I know exactly what I'm talking about, gentlemen. Yeah, y'all that don't actually watch the game, but you want to give all these opinions and you're ignorant as hell. I can't stand it. But I will say, these dildos are hilarious, dog. These dildos are hilarious.
I think it's just sad, especially
funny as hell.
Did you see the mugshot of the guy that got arrested the other night?
Yeah. You can tell these dudes just go to the game. They went to the game just to do that crap.
That's an insult if I've ever seen one, bro. What the fuck is that?
Like that kid. He looks like that kid in high school that bullies like the real small, skinny kids because he's insecure about his weight. I mean, look, he ain't got no neck. He got
no chin.
Look. He got 1988 Mike Tyson neck. Look at him. He could probably take a whole bunch of glizzies right now. Probably 5 or 6 down his throat right now. Look at his ass.
He don't got no hairline either.
Yeah, his hairline's like all the way back. It's the bangs that are making up for it, bro.
Boy got a neck wider than the Great Plains. Come on, dog. Come on now.
Fuck, come on, man.
This guy, he allegedly struck a girl and her uncle with the toy before it landed on the court.
Yeah,
so a ricochet. He didn't even throw it well.
Yeah, ricocheted off an uncle and his 9-year-old granddaughter.
I think it's absolutely hilarious. I mean, yes, it's insensitive. Yes, it's wrong. I'm not in support of it, but I'm not gonna act like it's not funny. Like, imagine playing a game, you running full speed, to the cup on a fast break, and boom, dildo falls right at your feet. Like, come on, dog.
What I want to happen, if this continues to happen, which I hope it doesn't because it is disrespectful, like we've mentioned, I just want somebody to chuck it a certain way where it just like suctions.
That's
right in the court.
There's too much physics for that to happen, Matt.
Listen, it could happen. A lot of things have been doubted before, but just if you could chuck it a certain way where it's just like suctions, does a little boing thing, and then it's like, yep, there we go.
I saw someone tweet something saying 2 could play that game at NBA, and then someone's got like a fleshlight toy.
If somebody throws a fleshlight at an NBA game,
I'm not gonna lie,
we're
man.
cooked, bro. Society is cooked.
I think it would be pretty funny if someone were to throw a rose on the court and one of them try to use it mid-game. I think that would be hilarious. I'm just saying. You know what's funny, man? When I was at the game the other day, and I know it's going to get a little crazy, but look, I'll be real with you. The league has a lot of lesbian supporters. I ain't going to lie. And you know what I think is funny, though? Not really funny, but when you look at the fandom of the league, there are really a lot of LGBTQ supporters. And the WNBA is very LGBTQ. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I hate that that's used as a weapon against the league. Who gives a damn these girls are gay? The gay hoopers are some of the best hoopers. Mm-hmm. I mean, real with you. I mean, you have people that are in relationships that are teammates.
Mm-hmm. Now that I don't recommend, but
I wouldn't recommend that either. But
I said that too. But you know what? As I've seen that these players have handled it, and there are some players that have played together. Dejanay Carrington, who recently got traded to the Minnesota Lynx. She's been playing for the Connecticut Sun, and she went to the Dallas Wings last year, and she had the chance to play with Paige this year, which we will touch on that in a little bit because Paige is the best player in the WNBA. I'm stamping it. What I've seen is a lot of these women that are in relationships, they handle it extremely well. Because sometimes they get traded away, and damn, like I'm playing with my wife, I'm playing with my girlfriend. Now she's gone, and this is nothing new. I want to be right on this, but I do believe the greatest player in WNBA history, Daint, she was married to her teammate for years. I think Katie Smith, I believe, is her name. They were together when they played with the Phoenix Mercury for years. They were married. They were great teammates. Katie Smith is a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players in WNBA history. Obviously, Diana Taurasi is the GOAT, man. But stop holding this, not to keep it frank, stop holding this gay stuff against them. These girls can hoop. And stop being that ignorant dude that continues to try to compare the NBA to the WNBA. They're not comparable. They're
two different entities on their own.
Two entities, man. You can get into, they want to get paid more, but they don't make any money, blah, blah. Revenue and profit are two different things, idiots. Revenue and profit are two different things. And do these women deserve more money from the revenue of the league? Yes, profit is a much different. They're not a profitable league, but they do make revenue. And I do believe they deserve a bigger chunk of that. And however that comes out, it will happen as time goes on. But as I have said in the past, if the WNBA truly wants to be a bigger league, they need more female support. They need it. This is a women's league. Men support the WNBA. Women support the WNBA. But women the NBA. But women have to support the WNBA more. Go out and see a game. In all honesty, these games are not expensive to go to. NBA games, you might go to one every couple of years. WNBA games, you can go to a couple every year.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to sell your kidney to go to NBA games, especially during playoffs.
Yeah, bro.
And refinance your mortgage on top of that.
I've been thinking about it right now. If the Liberty go to the WNBA finals, I want to go see a game. I'm a fan because I'm a fan of basketball. I can watch basketball and understand that at its purest standpoint, it's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game. And I'm also knowledgeable enough of the game to know that these guys in the NBA, they're extremely talented and they're really good. But they get away with a lot of stuff, a lot of violations. And while that makes the game more entertaining, especially when you're watching the stars that are able to get away from that stuff, it creates a bad habit for a lot of younger players. And I've always said, ever since I started playing basketball, ever since I started coaching, if you really want to know how basketball is played, you got to watch a women's game. But guys don't want to watch that because they care about dunks and highlight plays and flashy passes. You're going to get highlight plays in the WNBA. You're going to get, if you think these girls don't hit step backs and they don't be crossing people up and they don't hit these sexy, fancy, no-look passes and they don't knock down threes, Caitlin Clark is nothing but a reincarnation of Steph Curry. Aja Wilson in all honesty, is like one of these hybrid players who could play inside and outside, like a Kevin Garnett, because she's a beast on defense, and Nafisa Collier is the same way. They might have not have the same exact play style because of the athleticism that creates a gap, but in terms of playing good basketball, it's there. It's there. And when we talk about women, there are a lot of women out here who like to be a little promiscuous, like to get a little off kilter. And there's one particular woman now, I can say, because now she is an adult, Lil Tay.
Oh no!
Jesus Christ! This has made me so irrationally angry.
Now, as we know, when Lil Tay was actually Lil Tay, you know, she was telling us that we was broke and we ain't got as much money as her, and we ain't balling like her, we ain't living life like her. And when she turned 18, Lil Tay made $1 million in 3 days and started an OnlyFans account.
Not even that. 3 hours.
Now, Matt,
yeah.
3 hours, 3 days. Who gives a damn? That's disgusting. But Mateo, you being the sexpert on the podcast, the horniest of us all, you know, you get no ass.
Do not insinuate what I think you're insinuating right now.
No. I know you didn't subscribe, but
I have morals, okay?
As you should. I want to get your opinion.
Okay.
On not on Lil Tay starting the OnlyFans, but the men who have paid to subscribe to see this young woman's content.
Okay. I have a couple of ways I can go about this. This is the first thing I'll say. Odds are, when she took the pictures that she took to post on her OnlyFans, actually not even odds, it's a literal fact.
Mm-hmm.
She was 17 years old. She was not 18 yet. She released the OnlyFans when she turned 18, but the content she produced was prior to being 18 years old. Okay? So that's the first thing that we have to get from a logistical point of view.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing is the men that are going to right away pay for that shit. Those are what I like to call pedophiles. And pedophiles don't deserve any sort of respect, dignity. They don't deserve any sort of, even though they do anyway at sometimes, they don't deserve any sort of exempt from the justice system. You know, a lot of bad people get away with bad shit sometimes. I mean, hell, look at the fucking Epstein list and who might be on there and who may not be on there and all that conversation.
He's on it.
Probably is on there.
I find it funny. Jamingo ain't had nothing to say about Trump being on that Epstein list. Of course he didn't. But anyways, continue.
Yeah. So here's the thing, man. And I think this is what I have a problem with the adult industry. A lot of women, when they turn 18, they want to do porn. Like they think they're ready to do porn. But what they don't understand is the industry is very rough on women like them because, especially years ago, 18-year-olds had no one to advocate for them because they were being made to do all this crazy shit at such a young age, and they didn't want to not do it because they weren't going to make any money. And some of those women burn out and they disappear after they make videos for a while. I mean, I think there was an average at one point, like the average porn star does like 6 months worth of work and then it lives forever on the internet. Mia Khalifa is a good example of that, I think. But yeah, it's just like, I think the age of which you get into adult content needs to be raised. Even though 18 is a legal age.
Yes.
You are not mentally and emotionally mature enough to do that stuff yet. Because you are just going to, especially when it comes to professional porn, like OnlyFans, I think is different because OnlyFans, you have a lot, you can advocate for yourself a lot more in terms of what you do and who you work with and your limits and things of that nature. But at the same time, just because you turn 18 doesn't mean you need to start selling ass right away. I mean,
no.
I don't think any 18-year-old can mentally prepare for that.
I definitely looked into her starting the OnlyFans, and I saw the amount of money that she had made over a lot of the amount of time when she had first started. And you know, you had touched on it already. Kind of crazy statement to make, but I personally think it's crazy how there are all these grown men that were clearly waiting for their moment.
Oh yeah,
See
that's
this
the
girl,
worst part. They're like,
to see this.
that's what
Yeah,
they're doing.
ooh man, I can't wait till she turns 18. Oh man, I
Oh,
can't wait.
yeah.
till
I
she's
can't
18.
wait for this, guys. Oh my god. Oh my
Weird.
god.
That means you were sexually attracted to this child.
Yeah.
I don't care. Until you turn like 20, 21, you're still a child. So you're still trying to figure out the world. You're still trying to figure out who you are in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still trying to figure out who you are as a person. And you have these dudes who are so horny and want to see this girl dressed up in all this risque stuff. It's crazy. Like, for instance, I'm watching a comedy special the other day, and I don't know if I sent it to, I think I sent it to you, Matt. I don't know if you watched it, but these two people are out in the crowd, and the comedian asks, he's like, "Hey, yo, y'all together?" Girl goes, "Yeah, I'm 23." And then she's sitting next to this old head.
Yes,
yeah,
I did see that. It took me a second to remember, but
he goes, "Yeah, I'm 4. I think it was like 45 or whatever. I'm 45, 44 or whatever." And the comedian asks, like, "Well, y'all together?" He's like, "Yeah, we're married." Married? Like, how long y'all been married? "Oh, we've been married for 4 years." 4 years? So y'all got married when she was 19? Whoa.
fuck! Why did you put it out there?
Then come to find out, he is a friend of her father, and they met via Facebook. And as they continue to talk, the comedian made a great point. He's like, "Yo, man, so when you were scrolling, looking at her pictures and everything, if you scrolled a little too far,
why?"
So you met when she was 19. Y'all got married when y'all was 19. Y'all been together for 4 years, and you're the same age as her father." Gentlemen,
That's crazy.
and I'm speaking to all of our male viewers, whoever you are. That's not okay.
Nope, not at all.
I don't give a damn what the law says that 18 is legal. You're weird.
There are some areas in the world that 16 is legal. Just because she's 16 doesn't mean it's okay, bro.
Yeah, man. There's places where 13 is legal to give to give consent, and I think that's absolutely disgusting. These young women are not developed enough physically or mentally in order to handle an adult relationship. And as I've talked about before, when I talk about Drea Michelle and Jalen Green, this dude is 20 years is 20 years 20 years younger than her, and you're having a baby by him. You're hanging out with him. You go on podcasts and saying, "Oh, this stuff happened before you were born," and like that. That's
that when that shit
weird.
gets brought up, I'm like, oh hell no, bro.
It's weird.
Hell no. And
you out here popping ass for dollars, and this kid's in elementary school, and then you end up years later having a baby by this child. Jalen Green is younger than me. Jalen Green's like 2 years younger than me.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
And me as a 24-year-old, I would never even imagine nor think about being with somebody who's 10, 15, 20 years older than me. What do we have to talk about? We're at two completely different stages in life. And especially in this era, I'm a social media era person. And hey, let's pop this record on the record player and get down to some OJs type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. No, man, it's weird. I'm really tired of seeing these dudes who are interested in these younger. What do you get from that? What do you get from that?
Jail is
Shaq
what you deserve.
Shaq too.
Jail.
Shaq,
Nice job, Hunter.
You damn near a billionaire, and you mess around with these 20-year-old girls. Why? I get it. You want to have fun. You don't want the responsibility of being with an older woman because of what that brings in your lifestyle and what I'm not saying I don't understand it. But that doesn't make it weird. In certain instances, it doesn't make it unacceptable. Or should I say, in certain instances, it doesn't make it acceptable, I should say. Why are you so interested in a girl that just turned 18 to watch her do risque stuff on camera? I don't understand it.
And the same argument could be flipped around. Like, why would you watch younger men as an older woman do what they're doing? Like, they don't
nearly get that.
Yeah, I know they don't. But we can't not bring it up because like the Jalen Green thing, it's just like it's fucked up either way. Like, no matter how you look at it, it doesn't matter if it's the sexes are in a different.
Because here's my question. Here's my question to that. In terms of Jalen Green and Drea Michelle, right? If Jalen Green wasn't $1 million professional NBA player, are you approaching him?
No. Ain't
No.
nobody doing that.
No, because you know, in the back of your mind, whether how much you decide not to admit it, not to say anything, you know that this young man can provide the lifestyle which you think you deserve. So you're gonna allow yourself to get pregnant by this person, and that's what I think.
And then he's trapped.
Yeah,
and then he's trapped. You leave him, and then he pays millions of dollars of child support. And I notice why I do air quotes, because it's never just child support. It's
never just child support. You're supporting her lifestyle.
Exactly.
Her
it's always the lifestyle. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's bullshit.
Yep.
And the courts fucking buy into that shit as well. Family
crazy.
Courts are just as fucked up when it comes to taking the women's side with it too.
It's crazy. You know, you look at, I was watching a podcast the other day of, this is really old. It's this New Jersey comedian. God, I'm skipping names right now, but it really doesn't matter. Grand scheme of things. He's on. I haven't smoked today, so fuck you. Okay. He's on his podcast, and this woman ends up talking to him about child support. He has a couple different baby mamas, kids by different women, and she asks him, "Well, are you paying child support?" He says, "No, I'm a good father." She's like, "Whoa, wait! You're not paying child support? So you don't care about the woman's well-being?" It's like, whoa! I'm a good father. She's like, "Oh well. Do you take them to school? The fuck does taking them to school got to do with anything? When they're sick, I handle it. When they're in need, I handle it. When they need me, I'm there. I'm supporting. I'm being a father. Yes, I have different children by different women, but I am handling them both emotionally, financially, and I am there physically when they need me, and even when they think they don't need me." There are too many times I've seen these guys that are paying child support to these women, and you see them living these lavish lifestyles, but they ain't got no job. They ain't doing anything to support themselves, but they living off the child support. You cannot tell me that you need the same lifestyle you had when you were with this man, when you're not with this man, to support your child. If he has the financial means to take care of your child, to take care of the family, and he's doing so, why do you need $20,000-$30,000 a month to take care of a kid? There's not a single kid in the entire world that needs $30,000 for you to take care of him or her. And the same thing is vice versa. I can't stand spousal support. Why am I paying you spousal support and where you're not my spouse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I heard a couple years ago when
I could see if they're like legally married, and that makes sense.
Yeah,
but if they're not legally married on paper, or if they never were legally married,
Yeah.
why the fuck you paying it?
Yes, when Adele and her husband divorced, you gotta pay him spousal support. So you saying this man can't go get a job, handle his life, act, the right way, do what he's supposed to do, make money, be able to take care of himself properly. You gotta rely on money from your ex-wife in order to continue a lifestyle that you didn't have before you were with her in the first place, because she's a superstar musical icon. I don't think that's right. And that's why, and I made that point because I'm not in favor either way. If you're going to pay child support, you should support your children, even if you're not with that person that you used to be with. There's no doubt. But why do we have to bring the courts into it to make sure that, now don't get me wrong, there are trifling men and trifling women who don't take care of their kids and don't take care of the well-being of their children and don't make sure their children's best interest is at heart, because at the end of the day, whether you're married or you're separated, your child is the most important. You brought them into this world. You're supposed to give them the best experience possible to get them to that next step, to where when they get to a point where they can take care of themselves, they can do it the right way.
Not to mention there are, parents that are taking care of the kids that are making it hell for those other parents to be involved in the first place, and then they want to play the victim.
Yeah, man.
And we have to mention that too, because that also plays a factor in it.
Why?
And I said, I know there's a lot. I'm not putting anybody's business out there, nor am I talking about anyone specifically. But like I said, I've talked about this before. There's a lot of single moms in this area of the country that I live in, which is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I see on dating apps all the time how much you want to bet a lot of them are making those men's life's hell because they don't want to be involved with their kid. They're expecting everything from that baby daddy.
Yeah. Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro. I see your brain moving, man. I see the vein.
I see the smoke coming out from the gears turning, you know?
I want to bring up not the whole financial issue thing, but when we veered a little bit too off of what Dante had said about older guy with younger women. Why are younger women with older men? Could be a sugar daddy issue. They are young. They don't want to work. They see themselves as something that they can flaunt over to men with a higher wealth than them. And
I see that too.
Try to get into their life that way, or try to make their living that way.
Believe it or not, I see that too, or at least it's perceived that it looks like that.
I mean, you can look at Bill Belichick, for example, and his girlfriend that's 24 years old. Like, what?
Oh, yeah.
What do they got in common?
Jesus Christ!
What do they got in common?
About that.
Nothing. So when he's off, she's going to collect his paychecks and just live her life like nothing ever happened.
You know what I call that, Hunter? Fatherless behavior.
Wasn't beaten enough as a child. That's what.
You know what? I'm not even
going
to say that. I'm not even going to say that.
Oh, really? I'm curious to know why.
I think it's a mentality thing, man.
I see that. Okay.
I think there are men and there are women that have a mentality that think they are owed something because they look at themselves as higher than thou or greater than thou. I experience this when I go out to the clubs. I'm not kind of person that's going to buy you a drink and all that kind of stuff just to have a conversation with you or whatever. I really don't talk to people when I go out to the clubs for real. I go out with my friends and, if they end up talking to people, I'll engage in the conversation. But I see how people move, man. I see how people move. I can see how you move and you're looking to get something out of me in order to have a conversation with me. I see how people move to where they think that they are owed something in order for somebody who approaches them to be worthy of having a decent conversation with people. Me, I've always been like this. If I see a female out in public, whether it's at a party or a bar or a club, I'm respectful. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Shake their hand. I'm not really I'm gonna approach you kind. I don't really do that because I know how things get. Oh, you're being weird. Oh, like you want to fuck me? Oh, like I'm not just because you buy me this drink. I'm not going back to your room with you. I'm like, okay, like I'm just being a decent human being. But I think that also brings up another issue. Human decency is being lost, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
there way lost.
A lot of dudes out there that think, all right, because I danced with you or because I bought you a drink, yo, we got to go back to the crib.
Yeah,
so I can break your back.
That ain't okay either.
No, man. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. But I will say that if you approach, a person respectfully, you either get that respect back or you don't. And if you don't get that respect back, move on. Move on. Don't keep pressing the issue just because you think this girl is cute or just because you think this guy looks handsome or move on. Move on. Stop.
Can I tell a personal story really quick before we move on? Because I think that's a good thing. Do you remember when we went to Brunswick and we were hanging out with those few girls? I think it was the first time we had went to Brunswick together. And I got rejected by the one because she thought I was too old or whatever. All right, fine. You know how I handled that? I took it on the chin and I kept moving. And you know what else we did? We made sure that they were fucked up, and we made sure that they still got home okay. We were still being good men. We were still making sure that they were protected because we knew that other people were probably going to take advantage of that.
Right, and it wasn't in a sense like, hey, yo, we're trying to go back with you.
No.
Are you safe? Are you good? Because I've always felt that when I go out with my friends in a group of females are out with us or we meet people, I want to make sure you get back safe. I want to make sure you're good. you know, because it's a dangerous world out here, man, and you never know how people are going to act. They're going to react to a conversation or react to an interaction, and you want to make sure they're safe. You know, I told y'all, you know, a while back when I was out on Memorial Day, and this girl that ended up coming out with us, she was belligerently drunk, and guys were trying to take her here and there. And even though I didn't know this person, I still felt responsibility because she was hanging out with our group. That I was like, hey, gotta come with us. You can't be doing all this. And but I had to make sure I felt that responsibility because it's not on me and I'm relying on somebody who I don't know that is clearly trying to take advantage of this young woman. That's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right.
And also, just because you help protect it doesn't mean you're also entitled to something either. Not saying you particularly, but like in general.
Yeah. Oh no, and that's never my motive. I want to make sure everyone's safe. You know, even when I leave establishments, you know, one of my closest friends, man, we go out all the time, man, and every time we go out, if we drive separately or we drive together, and he drops me off, I drop. You good, bro?
Yeah.
Got home safe? Everything fine?
Always leave a text that let people know you got home safe, because then
if you
they're going
don't
to be
hit me
fucking
up,
worried.
if you don't hit me up the night of, I expect a text the morning after, because if I don't, then I get worried because I want to make sure you're good. I want to make sure you're good. I always make sure my homies are good. Yo, you get back safe, bro? Yo, the ride was good. Because one time I remember I went out with my friend and he drove himself. I drove myself. I went back home and I ended up getting stopped by the cops. I knew we were drinking. You all right? Everything fine? You chilling? Because that's my job. As your friend. As your friend. That's my responsibility to make sure you're good. Because if we really care about each other and we're really friends, you're going to care about my well-being just as much as I care about your well-being. And that's how it should be. But there are too many people out here that are worried about their own agenda and don't care about the well-being of others. And I don't rock with that. I don't rock with that. But let's move on, because I know we could get really deep into all these different issues that come from that. I'm glad we were able to talk about it. But the very last topic we're going to talk about today is celebrities and these lawsuits that are getting in, specifically celebrity athletes. We've had a lot of celebrity athletes that have getting into certain lawsuits over the past month. You got Brock Lesnar, you got Shannon Sharp, and you got Gilbert Arenas, all who have very different lawsuits against them, some of which who have handled them outside of court, some of them trial is pending. But, you know, and shoot, Marcus Morris as well, who recently just paid his $3,000 fine to a Las Vegas casino because he was sending bad checks in order to pay for his debts towards this casino. So let's talk about, you know, what these athletes are getting into. You know, post career is difficult for a lot of athletes. You know, they have to find different business ventures. You've been working on your game for your entire life since you were a child, and then you get to a point where it's like, hey, what am I going to do next? And then you start getting to things that's going to allow you to keep your money, but make more money without actually playing the sport that you play. So the first person I want to dive into is Shannon Sharp. We know that he had an issue with a 23-year-old OnlyFans model who he had intercourse with, who ended up suing him for, I believe it was like $50 million something. I think they settled outside of court for like $22 million or whatever. And Shannon Sharp also had another defamation case, which he was being sued for 20 some odd $million that was recently handled outside of court. Gilbert Arenas as well, we talked about it before, had a illegal high stakes gambling ring being run out of a house that he had rented, and he was running his own organization, blah blah blah. There was I believe it was Iranian mafia was involved in this particular gambling ring. Let's dive into that. Hunter, I want to hear what your opinion of all of these situations are first.
Oh boy, Shannon Sharp. I saw a clip the other day. He had an older woman on his podcast. This was like months ago, where she had made the case for him to settle with an older woman and to not get caught up with the young girls that caused trouble. Nothing but trouble. And safe to say that clip aged like milk for Shannon, because he did not take her advice, and he is in this situation where he is in. He didn't go live on Instagram by accident. Come on now.
Yeah, no one clicks on the live button by accident.
No.
Speaking of old men trifling with young women, and then this is what happens. You're a successful, rich man. You fuck with the wrong women, and look what happened. Now Shannon Sharp has been basically I don't know if I should go this far, but he's
Scapegoat?
no, not scapegoat. He's been kind of made the laughing joke of, at least in the black community, because I've seen a lot of like black creators talk about it on TikTok and Instagram.
Because they told him.
They told him. I've never seen the black community come together so well. One, when the guy hit the other guy over the chair. That was a legendary moment in Black history. That just
hey, 3 days ago. 3 days ago was
happy anniversary,
Montgomery, bro.
And
Hell
then
yeah.
Shannon Sharp with this situation. Every black person I know.
Before you get too deep into it, and I want to hear your opinion. Monique gave him the best advice on his podcast that he ever could have heard, and he completely it went in one ear and came out the other. He needs some older black lady who's gonna take care of him, rub his feet when he gets home after work. Maybe rub his back, cook him a meal.
Or maybe log out of his Instagram.
Log out of his Instagram, sit down, hold him, make sure he's like, these old niggas, man. I'm not young no more. You're not an athlete no more. Shannon, you ain't played football in almost 20 years, dude. You gotta move over 20 years, actually. You gotta move on, brother. You gotta move on. When you're an athlete, you got the stamina and the physique in order to handle any kind of woman that comes your way, because you got the money to pay for it.
It's a shame because his brother, he just recently got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Amen.
We should have been talking about that more, but no, he wanted to overshadow everything with his whole lawsuits and him getting dropped by ESPN and all that.
Such terrible timing for that to happen, too, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to say, the whole ESPN thing, I mean, think about the opportunity Shannon Sharp had on ESPN, on one of the most popular sports programs in sports media in First Take. He had the opportunity of the lifetime going from Undisputed to First Take and fucked it up.
And he was working like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
3 days a week. They weren't asking you to do primetime NFL football. They were come on this morning show 3 days a week. We're going to let you do your show.
95% of the time he was on there, he was streaming from his own place.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, media has changed to a point where you don't actually have to show up in office. Half the time, Stephen A. Smith ain't in studio.
Yeah.
He's in L.A. or New York at his home, got the setup, does his thing, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people like to hate on Stephen A., call him Uncle Tom or blah, 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 whatever you want to say it. But Stephen A. making his money. Stephen A. is being true to who he is, and I'm tired of the Uncle Tom comments because we got to stop getting mad at black men who are on TV who call out the truth.
That's a different story for a different time.
It is a different story for a different day. But what Shannon Sharp has put himself in position right now to do is, like, dude, you got to do everything on your own because no one's going to touch you right now. You're not a commodity that somebody wants to associate themselves with right now because of how your personal life has become so broad in the grand scheme of things over social media, man. With Shannon, I bring it back to Monique. I think he knows that he needs somebody who's going to hold him down, be real with him, have his back, but also someone he knows he can rely on. And he's wasting his time on these women who want a quick 15, 20 minutes. And that 15, 20 minutes ends up being millions of dollars in pay that you have to give these women that, you don't even need to put yourself in that position to do. But he did. He did.
Quick 15, 20 minutes turns into a quick 15, 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Amen.
And with this recent lawsuit that came out with him over the defamation case that he had pending, which is now over because it was handled outside of court, it also goes to show you got to watch what you say on the mic, especially if you don't have a close personal relationship with this person. They didn't give you the okay to mention this stuff on mic or on camera. You got to be smart. I think a lot of these people that are out here I've seen a lot of these podcasters and I've seen a lot of these people that are on TV saying information that just ain't true, or they weren't fed the right information from the start. You have to know what you're walking into and making sure you have all the facts before you. There's nothing wrong with opinions. You want to give opinions, that's fine, but don't give opinions that are intertwined with fact, because that
gets messy.
Very messy. Very, very messy. You gotta be smart, man. You gotta be smart. You know, it's just one of those situations where you have to look at yourself, look at the position that you're in, and understand, hey, I have to tread lightly because I don't know how this information is going to affect me in the long run. Got to be smart.
Speaking of that, we can kind of segue into the similarity of the topic and the Brock Lesnar situation. Now, I think me and Hunter are a little bit more. I don't know how well adept that you are at this particular subject, Dante, but basically the long and short of it is Brock Lesnar has been named in what is a larger case with Vince McMahon, formerly of the WWE, and in regards to sexual assault and or sex trafficking. I think the story goes is like he asked the person involved, the victim who's suing, Brock Lesnar, I guess, had asked Vince McMahon to have him send her or have her send him some videos of something. I don't know if it was done or not. Maybe it was done. WWE basically, excuse me. WWE basically said when he was named, it's like, okay, we're not going to do with Brock Lesnar for a couple of years. He's not going to be on our programming. He's not really going to be mentioned. From there, it's still kind of up in the air of what's been going on with his side of things, from what I've read anyway. Hunter, maybe you know more than I do in that regard.
Yeah, so pretty much this whole lawsuit thing with Vince McMahon and Janelle Grant, that's the woman who's suing WWE. Yes. A lot of sexual misconduct, very, very threatening and violent sexual misconduct, where Vince McMahon pretty much had tried to get Brock Lesnar to have a threesome with them.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's kind of the basis of it. And Brock Lesnar also at the time was not signed to a contract for WWE, so he kind of used her as leverage to somewhat bring Brock Lesnar back to the company. You know, pics, videos, and then, you know, we'll make sex toys called the Beast Brock Lesnar. Rah, rah, rah. Like, that's what Vince said in the text messages. But long story short, she was basically used as a marketing tactic or a negotiating tactic for Brock Lesnar to come back to the WWE. He came back in 2021, and the large rumor behind that is pretty much true now, that she was basically used for him to come back. Now, they did try intercourse. Brock Lesnar, Vince McMahon, and the woman, they all had dinner together. Brock was too drunk, so he took a flight home. He didn't end up staying. Vince McMahon, however, he did end up staying with the woman and persuasively, I shouldn't say persuasively, but pretty much beat the shit out of her. Yeah.
Is there evidence?
There's text messages.
It's still the case is still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. Yeah, but there's a lot of text messages from this man.
When it comes to situations like this, man. Oh, God, and I'm not a victim blamer. I'm really not. Need evidence, and I do understand from a women's standpoint where it is difficult to want to come out about situations like this in real time because you're afraid of the backlash, the person that you were involved with, and what people are going to say about it. You know, you already know, like, prime example, when Drake was saying all this stuff about, Bron, you was out there in Toronto with me. We was going out there running 2-mans and everything. These guys got to move smarter. Man. When you look at the Diddy situation with Cassie, I said this before. Cassie looked more incriminating than she did as a victim because of what she said in the stand. Whether she was a victim or not, that's not the point. The point is you have to portray yourself as a victim. You cannot come out and say you didn't want people doing other women having freak offs with Diddy or blah, 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 because you wanted it to be you. You know, you can't say things that are going to make yourself like, ooh, you know, maybe you were involved. Maybe you weren't as much of a victim as we looked at you as. Like, don't get me wrong. Hey, that hotel video, crazy. Diddy should be locked up for that, straight up. But that's not what the lawsuit was for. It was a RICO. wasn't proven with unreasonable doubt. So you got to move on. There are people out there that know that Diddy has done things that are not of a respectful person who is a musical icon and looked at as a god in the world of black excellence and black entertainment. But hey, you got to prove it. And stories from 8, 9, 30, 20 years ago, I don't mean nothing unless you could prove it. So my stance on this is, ladies, if anything happens to you, like legitimately happens to you, and you know that you were in an unsafe situation and you were put in a position where you were not respected, you were put in a position where you didn't feel safe legitimately, didn't feel safe. You got to know the part you play in things if things don't work out the way you thought they would. Don't try to play the government. Don't try to play the law. But people have to do a better job protecting themselves. And you have to, and it sounds crazy, but you have to get over the fact that you might get some backlash from it, especially if you know it's the truth, especially if you know what happened. People are going to try to protect themselves regardless, but you have to have that evidence, because I do feel bad. I mean, you look at the Harvey Weinstein stuff. I feel bad that all these women had to be silent just to be able to keep their job, because they knew that their careers would be over if they spoke out about it. I respect the women that came out and said, hey, Harvey Weinstein did this to me. It happened. That man is paying for it. Rightfully so.
If he bends the knee to Trump, he might get a pardon. So
who knows?
Well,
you gotta do this day and age.
On top of that, Hunter, if you remember the Canadian hockey team sexual assault case that just got concluded, we know that. I mean, I still believe that those gentlemen did it. Unfortunately, there was not enough evidence to prove in a court of law, but I think there's a lot of people that feel like,
their reputations are ruined.
Their reputations are ruined, but that wasn't the point. The point is, I still think that they did it. I think the person the victim in this, they just couldn't do a good job providing the evidence, and then the judge decided what she decided on. But I still stand with the victim in this. I think those guys are guilty, 100%. I think there's a lot pointing to it, but at the same time, it couldn't be proven.
Well, at the end of the day, we shouldn't be putting our hands on anybody. Like let's sit down and have a talk. You know what I'm saying? There's emotions arising. Let's sit down and talk. But if I tell you to stop talking, do you think it's wise for you to keep talking? You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm throwing down? If I tell you, hey, shut up. You think it's wise for you to keep talking? Now, after that, my reaction is based on your reaction. So at the end of the day, stop talking. Don't put your hands on me. I ain't gonna put your hands on you. But if you do, I will respond. Now I'm fucking with you.
Jesus Christ. I was wondering where you were going with that for a second. I'm like, oh boy.
No. Y'all ain't see the Joe Budden podcast. The dude was on there. They were talking about domestic violence. And the girl was like, oh, guys shouldn't put their hands on women. That's so fucked up, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, if I tell you to stop talking.
That's a deep cut that even I didn't know, man.
Oh my god,
that's crazy. No, but just a really quick thing to kind of wrap up the Brock Lesnar stuff. The whole point is all this stuff is still kind of up in the air, being brought up by the media. The case is still ongoing. WWE this past weekend at SummerSlam, what do? They bring him back. It's in the public eye.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I did see that the other day. That's
allegedly the Janelle Grant's team said like he didn't have as big of a. They said something along the lines of that he's not like as guilty as what was initially alleged. I don't know, something. I can't get the wording of it correct, but I don't remember the full statement. But
hey, there's a reason why Vince McMahon is not involved with WWE.
Yeah,
he's a terrible person. I don't care what he's done to promote the league and how much he's put the league on. He's put the WWE on the map. He's a bad dude. We know he did bad things. That's why he's not involved anymore.
And it's not like it's just come out of the blue. There's
nothing new. It's nothing new. And I can't believe his wife is running the Department of Education, because she is one of the most retarded She's more. Yo. Linda McMahon is slower than a retard at quicksand. Okay.
That's a good one.
Okay, she's slower than a retard at quicksand, and I'm gonna say I don't give a damn how half of y'all feel about it. She's retarded. She's retarded. Okay, you can't be running the Department of Education and you're barely educated or you're just ignorant of everything. I can't get down with that, but that's another conversation for another day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of another episode of the Bro Migos podcast. I know we got off kilter every once in a while, but hey, that's part of the show. If you've been following the show over the past 3 to 4 years, you know that's how we get down, baby. You know that's how we get down. But just want to say that we appreciate all the support that we have gotten. Next episode is number 100, man. That is
funny you mentioned that. Do we have a plan for that at all?
We gonna figure something out. We gonna figure something out. But it's the 100th episode, and for all of you guys that have paid attention to our show, who have given us a follow, who have taken the time out of your day to listen, we truly appreciate all of you. This has been a very long journey. We've had ups and downs, but you're looking at 4 guys who were sitting in a classroom, learning the industry, trying to figure out what we wanted to do in this world of media, and we've come together and put together a product that I can honestly say that we're all proud of, and that we've taken the time to, do the research. We've taken the time to listen to you as the listeners, and also, put our own spin on it. And we are more than appreciative of how much all of you guys have supported us, whether it's 5 people or 500. We love you. We appreciate you. And we truly thank you for everything that you have done for us. And we appreciate the fact that you have taking the time out of your day to be able to listen to us whenever you have the time. So thank you very much.
And if you hate us, thanks for listening anyway.
Yep. But we love the haters too, baby. We love the haters too.
Baby.
Matt, please take us to church.
Goddamn right I will.
Amen.
Thank you guys for checking out the episode 99 of the Bro Migos podcast. We are on the following podcast platforms that you can search up on your anywhere with that you have a podcasting app or platform. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, we're everywhere, man. Search up the Bro Migos podcast, give us a listen, and who knows, you might learn something, or you might be thoroughly entertained. That's the one thing we always guarantee, is we always try to thoroughly entertain the listeners as best as we possibly can. Follow us on Twitter. Or X, or whatever the fuck you call it nowadays. It's still Twitter to me. God damn it. At Bromigos Pod is the account that you can follow there. Instagram and TikTok, the Bromigos Pod. Actually, I'm wrong. Instagram and Facebook, the Bromigos Pod. TikTok is the Bromigos Podcast, which our videos have been doing pretty solid over there as well. And you can also check out our YouTube channel, where we have the audio up dropping every single week, as well as shorts that we have from our other social medias there as well. So we appreciate the fact that you guys listen to us every week. Much love. Whatever we have planned for episode 100, we'll figure it out. But we know damn well that if it's just us, or if it's us with a guest, you're going to be thoroughly entertained.
Sure, and I could do my own self promo as well. I've started my own sports media content on Instagram. Make sure you follow Execute, followed by 2 underscores on Instagram. I also have a Twitter account as well that I'm starting up this week. So, get ready for all of my takes. We're going to have reactions to podcasts. I'm going to have my own individual podcast coming out. Yes, I'm back at it as an individual, even though I love the bros. I got to do my own thing, baby. I got to do my own thing. But, as I said before, we truly appreciate all the listeners. We thank you guys for tuning in when you can, and we appreciate all the support that we've gotten over these past couple of years, man. And episode 100 is up next, so get ready. Hunter, you ain't got nothing to say, man? You just gonna sit there all silent?
I was gonna say, you got any iRacing coming up? Like, come on.
iRacing? Nah, we're done with that. But I will be in Daytona in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I watch the real stuff, not the virtual stuff. But
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all know if the salt water is really what they say it is over in Florida.
Well, salt water or the bath salts?
It's probably bath salts are probably in the salt water. So. I don't know.
If Hunter comes back tweaking, we'll know why.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into episode 99, like my man Wayne Gretzky of the Bro Migos podcast. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
You've been listening to the Bro Migos podcast.
Fuck you, and I'll see you tomorrow.